7 left. Pickett back to the air. Throw it down the middle, looking for Sims, who caught it at the 21-yard line. Steven Sims.
Welcome back to 5-Star Matchup. If you like the show, make sure you subscribe now. And if you can spare it, swing over to patreon.com/5SMU and support our hard work for just $4 or $7 a month. Well, after their notorious 2-6 start, your Pittsburgh Steelers have scratched and clawed back to relevancy. And no, you didn't think it was going to happen. Admit it. After their epic Christmas Eve comeback finish against the Raiders, how do they reward me? With Ravens Week? On my birthday? It's in the bag! Let's get it. Outtrots the ascending first-year quarterback for his first game in Baltimore with a stunning opportunity at a playoff spot on the line. This, my friends, is where you learn about a young signal caller. Start this with a little flip to the Muth man who simply needs more targets next year. Cough, he's literally the third best tight end in the league already, and we're on the move. Soon to be second best Watt in the league, Derek is a sledgehammer on third and short. Like always, say what you want about Matt Canada, but the short yardage offense this year has been immaculate. Followed by Kenny finding just a smidge of extra time and dumping it to the seemingly always open Jaylen Warren, and we're already across midfield. Speaking of Jaylen, peep this snazzy little Canadian end around that gets the rookie back rumbling downfield with the quickness. Shock this caught Baltimore off guard, but also isn't life so much funner when you're running behind Gunner? Truly beastly block takes out a pair to spring the Steelers into the business zone already. Run game keeps them going with a tote up the gut for the Najee man, followed by a never fails sneak for the K-man, and the Steelers are fixing to run out half the quarter and grab a sixer. Unfortunately, a false start knocks them back, and on first, it's something that might look familiar to those who know the future. I won't spoil it, but let's just say they hit this a little better the second time. Hate the low percentage fade on third, but it is what it is. Steelers take the consolation tray and the very early and very small lead. Pittsburgh 3, Baltimore nothing. Over to the Lamarless and somehow worse than the Steelers-Ravens offense, and of course they're gonna try and do what they did last time, which is run it down their throats. Mark Robinson says, nah, son, with a sweet stick, but the always open Andrews finds some space on a little high-low choose-your-own-adventure for Huntley, and just like the Steelers before them, the Ravens are in motion. Just about the only thing you can't do against the Ravens, especially their backup, is let him escape the pocket, and it was a problem early, and here Huntley scuttles for a first near midfield. More of the same for Andrews, who finds room on Cookie's favorite son for another first. Steelers usually do a good job on him, but tonight he was their only option, and you could tell. 3rd and 8 has to be a get-off down against a backup quarterback, but get off the Steelers most certainly do not, as they let Tyler have a pillowy soft pocket until he fires and finds Robinson for a first, firmly inside Justin Tucker's field goal range. The best rivalry in sports is trading jabs early. Who'da thunk it? Oh, so now Dobbins the elf is slicing him up again? Can we not with this? Miles, where are you going? Birds donning their black and purple suspenders as we head into the second quarter already. Where does the time go? Steelers stuff a corny little reverse, clearly they don't have Matt Canada calling the plays, and Huntley lofts a prayer on third that falls harmlessly to the ground as the Steelers force a kick for the goatiest goat that ever goated. Has Tucker ever even missed against us? Tie game, just as the football gods intended. Have I mentioned how much I love the powerback version of Najee Harris? Well, I love it more than Kel loves orange soda, and the Najee man was plowing ahead all night long. Love the continued second late year ascent for Mr. Harris if you're nasty. Unfortunately, the big man trips up his QB and the young KP, clearly trying to avoid disaster, curls up in the fetal position to take the sack, even though there's no one near him to put them behind and down in distance. Weird, but hey, he's learning on the job. Does it even matter when Deontay Johnson is literally always open? KP hits him to get the sack yardage back and more for a convertible 3rd and medium. And on the very next play, young number 8 flashes shades of a young number 7 as he escapes the rush smoothly and fires to that man George Finger Pickens, but not so fast. Says the other rook stepped out on his way back, and you might as well call this drive Edgar Allan Poe, cause it's dying of tuberculosis in Baltimore. After a nice pump by Press the Thick backs him up, the Ravens get stuffed like a hot pocket on 3rd and 1, things you love to see, and it's right back to Kenny P and the Steelers offense. You always gotta have one guy who could care less about his own well-being, and that's Gunner. More up-the-gut runs for Jalen, who had by far his best game as a pro with 76 yards on just 12 carries, and the undrafted rook continues to prove he's an excellent complement to the Najee man. 1st and 10 now, and it's another great, and I do mean great, throw from Kenny P on the run, who hits his #1 man DJ, but he can't quite make the stretched out catch. Thanks, I hate it. Love number 18, but truly these are the plays that keep him in that second tier of wide receivers. On 3rd and 5 though, Kenny knows there's always money in the Muth man, and what else is new? He fires another perfect laser, this time across his body for the 1st down. Just can't say enough about how impressed I am with this kiddo's mobility. The always good Chuck Clark has Muth in lockstep on the next third though, and the Steelers are forced to settle for the 3 again, and you already know Boz is... Hey, where's the goddamn music, Steve? Boz doinks it as we apparently are reliving 2018. Score stays the same, 3-all. Steelers line up with their entire roster of D linemen, but none of them even get a finger on JK, who scampers past midfield, and you already know we're not allowed to have nice things, and the Ravens are getting points before half. I don't have the stats, but it feels like the Steelers have given up a ton of points in the final 2 minutes of the first half, doesn't it? Everyone knows what's coming, but no one can stop it. As a developing Steeler killer, Dobbins takes a pair of patient totes right through the teeth of the D as the first half clock ticks down. Ravens finally throw on 2nd and long, and what do you know, there's no one even near their only decent receiver, Mark Andrews, who makes another wildly annoying snag for a 1st down. Next 2nd and long though, Bob the Brick Spillane, who you all constantly tell me sucks, perfectly sniffs out a tight end screen and drags it down for a momentum shifting loss to shift the Ravens from thinking 7 to thinking 3. Art the Mauler and co wrap up Dobbins on 3rd and out-trots Tucker for the... But wait, there's more. Some absurdly named ref, seriously who the hell is named Land, throws a flag on Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee Cam Hayward, who was literally just trying to get up as a Raven pulled him down by the collar. And I won't dwell on this because you and I both know it's a fucking ridiculous call in a moment of this magnitude, except to say, why isn't something like this booth reviewable? What the fuck ever, Ravens have renewed life, and because you know how football works, on the very next play, Huntley hits likely for the 6 and the biggest play of the half. Complete and utter bullshit in the mind of this commentator, but so be it. Ravens head into the half up 10-3. Hey, you! I hope you've had a lovely and joyous holiday season, and now that you're done buying gifts, why not support your favorite YouTube show for a measly $4 or $7 a month? I know you're using your mother-in-law's Netflix password, or maybe that's just me, but I think you can spare it. We don't make ad revenue off this show, and it's just me putting it together every week. If you can spare less than a Frappuccino every month, I'd appreciate it. You can do that at patreon.com/5SMU. Now roll the game. We're back, and so is the Ravens offense with the chance for the vaunted double score, and I guess no one wants to cover the best f***ing receiver on their team. Andrews wide open again to get him in motion. Obviously listening to my pleas at home, Steelers stick their best on him on the next third, but great players make great plays, and Andrews beats the Mink man, who limps off with an apparent ankle injury, but would thankfully return almost immediately. Ravens kick themselves in the wing with an illegal snap followed by a holding. But on 2nd and a millennium, Huntley finds Andrews haplessly covered by the always terrible Devin Bush, who simply sucks, to make it a 3rd and convertible. On 3rd and 6, Huntley cannot escape the freshly taped Mink, and the Ravens are forced to take the 3. Tucker never misses, and it's suddenly a 10-point lead for the Ratbirds. Who's that man? It's Najee Harris, again slicing up the gut for a gash on a pretty little zone run, and again, this man is much more Jerome than he is Willie. Let him poundeth thy rock. Of course, just as I say that, the normally steady Mason Cole gets jacked into the backfield for a busted play and a huge loss. But on 3rd and long, if I was quarterback, I'd simply look for George Finger Pickens, who exclusively does amazing shit, and here it's no different. Just an incredible catch and throw for the pick-a-pair of rookies to convert the 1st. Will we ever see George make a normal catch? I don't know, but the dude's a human highlight reel. Remember when Mike T used to talk about quarterback mobility unprompted last year? Well, would you look at this? Kenny's got no problem turning his back to the line because he knows he can just dump it to Jalen, who catches everything thrown his way. I really believe this kid could start in the league. Speaking of, on 3rd and 4, it's back to the same Warren, and you shouldn't be worried, as it's another first for the suddenly chug-a-lugging Steelers offense. Ravens run D finally settles down though with a stuff on Najee, and Kenny fires just a skosh late to DJ and out-trots the embattled but brass-balled Boz, who when needed most is... Steelers back within 7. Baltimore 13, Pittsburgh 6. Is there a more common score in the history of this matchup? I think not. History will say the Steelers outrushed the Ravens on this night, and that's true, but considering the Ravens' unidimensionality, I am not prepared to say they did a great job against the run. Better than last time, sure, but Dobbins was still highly effective, as you see here. Fortunately for the Steelers, no one is more effective in winning time than reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Trent Jordan Watt, who screams past the tackle for an earth-shattering sack that just screams, "I'm better than you." And that's what having great players is all about. Love this man in the number 90 jersey. Steelers start inside their own 10, literally where these games are always won and lost, and it's another handoff for the omnipresent Najee, who turns on the Jets to get outside and give the Steelers some much-needed breathing room as we head into the final stanza. Oh, but Najee Harris was a wasted pick in the first round. Really, because tonight was the first time I've seen a Steelers running back truly control a game since that dude with the apostrophe in his name was here. Najee was truly a man possessed in Baltimore. Love the growth from Kenny P here, who continues to prove he doesn't give a single f about the pass rush, but instead of running for a couple like he might have a month ago, keeps his eyes downfield and hits Pickens for a diving first on the sideline. Yes, if you're keeping score at home, Kenny Pickett is playing, let me check my notes, really f***ing good. Warren follows some more nice blocking by Gunner and Muth for another first, and can't you just feel this thing shifting? 1st and 10 now, and oof. Nearly an oops for young KP, who gets this one tipped for the unfortunate but still lucky combo breaker that falls meekly to the ground. This is a slightly different bounce away from being a pick 6, and we live to fight another day as my life flashes before my eyes. Another workhorse run for Najee gets it to a convertible third, where Pickett finds the always open Deontay, who this time not only makes the catch but shakes the tackle for a huge gainer. Look at this man stop on a dime! Deadly route running from the $36 million man. Steelers, like they have for the last 15 years against Baltimore, even with Ben, go conservative in the red zone with a handoff on 2nd and long and a prayer on 3rd. And it's back to the Boz, who's thankfully still. And it's a 4-point game. Ravens 13, Steelers 9. A kickoff? Oh, Steve, this cannot be good. And no, my friends, it most certainly is not. In the moment, I felt this game was over as Boz fails to boot it into the end zone, and the Ravens' always solid return game breaks it across midfield for the momentum re-shifting return. Thankfully, though, we have TJ Watt, who is absolutely willing this team to victory like he always does. Great run stuff followed by a ridiculously relentless pass rush by the amazing Trent puts the Ravens behind the 8 ball, and don't you forget it, after a rough game all around, a huge play by Cookie's favorite son to break up the pass to Likely and keep the Ravens out of Tucker's immense range. Instead, it's a punt for the Ravens and the momentum shifts back to the black and gold. This series won't be remembered like the offensive ones, but it was absolutely huge after that return. Sims fields another inside the 10, and it's a long way to go for Najee and Kenny as time ticks under 9 minutes to go. Couple totes for the always chugging Warren gets him out of the hole, and on 1st and 10, it's a deep bomb dropped right in the basket of Deontay J, but he can't quite get the feet down, and it's sadly a very exciting incompletion. Kenny goes down on 2nd, and it's back to the defense with a must-stop series. Nice open field stick on Andrews by Bob the Brick gets the clock moving and the down marker to 2. Dobbins takes it up the gut for just a couple. And on 3rd and 3, it's none other than Godzilla Hayward himself doing what he does and redeeming the horrible penalty called on him earlier with a drive-killing run stuff to get the ball back to Clutch Kenny and the Steelers' ragtag gang of young playmakers. Pittsburgh catches a slight break with the punt going into the end zone, and finally they don't have to start inside the 10. Does the young signal caller have it in him to lead a second last-minute touchdown drive in as many weeks? I don't know about you, but I believe in Kenny P. Run game works as it has all night with a good carry right at the belly of the D for 7 on 1st, and on 2nd and short, Kenny takes his time without a hint of panic and hits Najee, though just a little late for my taste, and for just about the only time on the night, he gets taken down short of the line to gain. Clock ticks under 3 as the first-year QB calmly calls the play and gets him lined up with nothing but winning on his mind. What's that? Oh, just another spin move to escape the pocket, and a fire deep downfield to his dominant and always open tight end. And does this remind you of anyone? Like Collinsworth said earlier, Kenny pulled off a handful of plays in this game that if Patrick Mahomes made them, the world would be freaking out. Time ticks near 2 as I urge from my couch to take their time. But Kenny's cutting in. Great protection lets the kid scan deep, and scan deep he does, and for my money, Kenny makes the very best throw of his career so far. This one to the Pirates' Steven Sims, who gets the Steelers down to the 21 at the 2-minute warning. Haters need not apply, because if you're just looking at box scores, you're not seeing what Kenny P is really doing out here. This is an incredible tight window throw that didn't have an inch for error. And not to mention a great catch by the ascending Steven Sims, who completely flips the script of this game. Just gonna have to stand back and admire this seed of a throw filed firmly and on the top of the pile of things you absolutely love to f***ing see. Canada crosses up the D with a little tap pass to Sims, who, I can't complain after that awesome catch he made, but he probably shouldn't have gone out of bounds here as time is of no concern to the Steelers. But it's all good because you're just not stopping Najee Harris on this night. The very finest of his young career so far. However, apparently the only ones that can are the refs who rule him short. Don't ask me, looked like an obvious first. But it's all good when you got the sneak god Kenny P, who can't quite, oh my god, I love you, Najee Harris. If ever there was a game where a running back was the MVP, this was it. In the most crucial moment, the powerful back quite literally scoops up his quarterback and guides him to a hole for the desperately needed first. I know it looks like a small thing, but this image will be seared into my brain for years to come. The imagery of these baby Steelers leaning on each other to get it done, it brings a tear to my weary old eye. Time ticking towards a minute now, and Pickett takes a predetermined shot to DJ, who still hasn't scored all year, and he's covered like a pig in a blanket. It matters not, as we're obviously in 4-down territory. Naj can only muster a couple on second, and the Ravens take their final timeout, setting up a 3rd and 8, and our
5-star
play of the
game.
CB has one more in him.
They're both at the bottom. Pickett, flush, pressured, throws on the right, caught by Harris for a touchdown! Oh, what a play! And the Steelers take the lead!
Kenny f***ing Pickett does it again. What can I say other than wow? Just a week after the rookie quarterback led a game-stealing drive against the Raiders, he follows it up with another gem, this time culminating in an oh-so-sweet touchdown pass to the best player on the field tonight, Najee Harris, who makes the season-saving touchdown grab with just 56 seconds left on the clock in Baltimore. Just a stunning turn of events for the ice-blooded rookie, this time against a very good defense in their most hated rival's house, and there is nothing but sunny skies above the Three Rivers for the next 10+ years, as the Steelers have seemingly successfully pulled off the Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck transition. Happy birthday to me indeed. Thanks, boys. Still a matter of the 56 seconds on the clock and Justin Tucker looming, but we already know it's Pickett's night, not Huntley's, and the quarterback fires incomplete on first. Ravens hold on second, tick, 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 tick. But just to get my heart rate elevated a little more, they give up way too much to Andrews on second, tick, 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 tick. And it's another conversion to the tight end on third, tick, 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 tick. Weird play where he gives himself up, but no whistle happens, gives the Ravens an unearned clock stoppage. This ref crew was terrible in both directions tonight, I think we can all agree. But after a spike,
From the 38, Watt tries to rush inside. Huntley comes outside, throws across his body. It is intercepted by Fitzpatrick.
Minka locks it down with his league-leading 6th interception of the season, and your Pittsburgh Steelers are 8-8. I just can't say enough about the mettle of this young team, who just a couple months ago was a disastrous 2-6, and people were talking about a top 5 draft pick. The rookie quarterback has continued to get better and better, now leading, I think for the first time in NFL history, a last-minute game-winning drive 2 weeks in a row, to guide the Steelers to an unbelievably unlikely Week 18 with a chance to make the freaking playoffs. Admit it, if I had told you 2 months ago that we were going to have something to play for in Week 18, you would have said I'd lost it. That's the beauty of football though, isn't it? It's just never over until it's over. And for the 6th time in the last 8 outings, it was over with the Steelers coming out ahead of their opponents. It may sound corny, but as a fan of this team for 33 years now, I find myself feeling so incredibly proud of these young kids like Kenny, Naj, Muth, and Pickens, who are finding ways to get it done down the stretch as the weather has gotten colder and the defense has gotten better now with their star back in the fold. We thought the future was far off, but as it turns out, it's now. Regardless of what happens next week, Kenny and the boys have already played 2 playoff games in a row and won them both in emphatic and triumphant fashion as the clock ticked near 0. Now, let's go Jets and let's go Bills. But most importantly, here we go. If you're still here, you must love this show. And if you love this show, you can probably afford to support us for just a meager $4 or $7 a month. We're nearing the off season, and if you appreciate the work I put in every week to entertain y'all, I'd appreciate the vote of confidence. I'll be sending out a new round of gift envelopes to new Patreon subs this week, and I think you'll want to get in on that. You can join at patreon.com/5SMU. But most importantly, just keep watching. Catch you next week.